Well, hello and welcome to 40 RACEWEAR Monday Night Indy Fixed from Worldwide Technology Raceway. This is also what we call Gateway, more recognizable to me. This is Matt Houston in the booth, joined by Stephen Larkamp. How's it going, Stephen?
Doing pretty good, and a great night of racing we're expecting tonight at Gateway, of course, just across the river from St. Louis. I still call it Gateway, just like you. So, and the way the track is shaping up tonight, the store of show is going to give us is rather hot out there. The track temp is 118 degrees Fahrenheit. And this track is always a demanding one on drivers. It's very hard to make passes work. It relies a lot on momentum. It relies a lot on good racecraft. And that's really what's going to be getting a lot of people over the edge today. And we're waiting on qualifying to wound down a little bit. We have about half the field right now out of 21 cars that posted qualifying times. Waiting on some big hitters to post their first runs, as well as Adriano Pinero, number one machine, one of the championship contenders, looking to secure pole position. He's actually on a hot lap right now. Down the back straightaway, the track 1.25 miles in length, an egg-shaped oval. 1 and 2 are much narrower than 3 and 4, but even still, and rather odd for a race at Gateway, the corners themselves, 3 and 4 in particular, you have to lift anyway. It's not like 1 and 2 are the ones that you have to lift, maybe even brake, and 3 and 4 you can take flat out without a little, and you can take flat out. No, you apparently have to lift, as we talked to Dakota DeMade earlier here tonight.
Yeah, a little bit surprising to hear, but with the daytime settings on this particular race, maybe not all that surprising, but a little bit different than we might have seen in the past. We run this quite often here in the Indy Fixed, and we've gone through a variety of setups, a variety of weather settings, and looks like it's going to be a hot one here tonight. I know Dakota said, his first comment was, "This setup plows." So, that's drivers don't really like that when that's kind of a negative viewpoint when you hear a driver say that. But it's the same setup for everybody, though. They're all going to have to deal with it, and we'll see what kind of race it does. We've had short ovals, we've had Milwaukee, we've had Phoenix. What else have we had? New Hampshire. What other short ovals have we run recently? I'm trying to remember, but this race is completely different than those. Iowa, we might have run that recently.
Yeah, Iowa Speedway as well.
Yeah,
but Gateway, definitely unlike a lot of other shorter tracks. It's not a short track in the conventional sense. It's more than a mile in length. It's 1.25 miles, in fact. But it's rather short by IndyCar standards, and you tend to see short track-like racing here. So these guys are going to have to be fighting tooth and nail like they would at a race at like Milwaukee or Iowa, and we're getting ready to grid up right now, and let's get our starting grid up and ready. And on the pole here tonight, the number 13 of Rodrigo Franzoni, one of the pole meisters from the last few seasons, always quick in qualifying. Let's see if he can convert that. Alongside him will be the number 2 machine of Mark Murphy, another championship contender, and a very strong qualifying effort from him. Row 2 will be Elliot Huffman in the number 5, alongside the 3 machine of Trey Shadid, both of them making excellent qualifying runs, especially since they've qualified ahead of P5, which is Adriano Pinero's number 1 machine, who is one of the championship contenders and usually a threat for pole position. Let's see what he can do in the race. Alongside Adriano will be the 19 of Kevin Burrell. Row 4 will be the 16 of Hayato Matsuda alongside the 10 machine of Andrew Wood, 7th and 8th. Row number 5 will be Alexandre Gon in the number 6 and 9th place alongside the 11 of Tyler Russell, rounding out your top 10. AJ Musselman in the number 4. He will start 11th on row 6 alongside the 20 of Frank Irwin Jr. 7th row will be Adriano Fraporti's number 9 and Matt Mercer's number 14. And thus in the 8th row, Stephen Lee in the number 8 and Cesar Cabral in the 15. Row number 9 will be Masato Shimizu in the number 18, alongside the 17 of William Price. Row number 10 will be Aaron McQuarrie's number 12, and the 7 of Dakota DeMade, who's had a rough qualifying on that one. And finally, shotgun on the field will be the 21 of Alan Morea. Everyone has posted qualifying times, though. Looks to me like Morea maybe sandbagged a little bit. I don't see someone like him running a time that slow and taking it seriously.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised. Pinero starting, what was it, 5th on that grid? So a little bit surprising for him. Great lap by Franzoni out there, though.
Franzoni's always been very quick in qualifying. He's one of the guys that usually starts alongside Pinero on the front row in these Indy fixed races. At least that was the case last season when we saw him fairly regularly. And now we're starting to roll off. And already we have Elliot Huffman's number 5 weaving quite a bit to get those tires warmed up. Personally, I'm not too sure if I would want my tires as hot as they can be. Track temp has decreased a little bit. It's down to 117, but even still, this is going to be a toasty racetrack that these guys are going to be on, and I can see that wearing away at these tires sooner versus later.
Yeah, I mean, the good news for these drivers is that we're starting with the afternoon settings, so really we should start to go down in temperature as the race progresses here, but they're starting at kind of this peak temperature at the very beginning of this race, unless we get a lot of cautions that those weather settings aren't going to change greatly from the beginning of this to the end. But it'll slowly tick down as the afternoon settings progress.
Certainly looks that way as everyone gets bunched up. The pace car is down. Time to meet me in St. Louis. We're going racing. Franzoni on the throttle, green flag flying, and he leaves Mark Murphy to fend for himself. Elliot Huffman tucking in right behind him into P3 as they head into turn 1. Everyone getting themselves through 1 and 2 in good order as they head down the backstretch for the first time. Huffman all over the rear wing of Mark Murphy into turn 3 for the first time. 85 laps we're going to be running here tonight. Franzoni about to complete the first one in the lead.
Franzoni going to lead that first lap. Got Mark Murphy right on his rear.
Pinero already up a spot. He's gotten around Trey Shadid on that first lap. Ooh, close call there. I believe that was that in? Alexander Gong came very close to the wall. Coming off of turn 2, you got to be very careful with that there. So easy to push out wide off of 2 and get that wall. And now Mark Murphy catching right up to Franzoni once more. Murphy's always been a very strong driver on the long haul. Let's see what he can do.
Go on board with Murphy just to get a view for a good look for our viewers. Murphy trying to find some air on that high line.
How you still have to play that little game of finding the clean air, and amazing more still that even with the big short track wings that these guys are running here tonight, you're still having to lift in the corners. The banking there is not all that great. The track is fairly wide, but even still, it seems to me like you actually have to get out of the throttle a little bit to give yourself the grip you need.
So what are we looking at in terms of fuel strategy here tonight? I think we're looking at about 50 to 55 laps, if I recall correctly. I'm not 100% sure, though, on that.
That would sound about right. About 55 laps sounds to me like the number that we're looking for. Maybe a little bit longer if you're able to fuel save a good bit. 55 seems to be the number a lot of them are looking for, so around lap 30 will be the time when, for certain, the pit window will open without much concern for fuel.
And hey, good.
I would have, Lars, it would be tires.
I was going to say, good to see Andrew Wood out here in the Indy Fixed. We usually see him over in the Open Series, and of course over in Lionheart Speedway as well, one of the competitors there.
Not quite the start that Andrew Wood wanted. Started 8th, currently running 9th, but still within the wheel tracks of Alexander Gong's number 6. Andrew Wood doing a very solid job, doing what he needs to do. Of course, a very experienced driver in his own right. And as we all know...
We went to a battle for the lead here with Murphy. Oh, he's trying to make it inside.
Murphy has a peak down low. Franzoni up high. Murphy not quite able to get up alongside him. Will Murphy have a look to the inside this time? No, he won't. Franzoni again running high. Murphy running the medium groove there. That low line is not the preferred one by any stretch.
Murphy seems to have a great car here, though.
Looks to the inside in the 3 and 4. Forces Franzoni up high. Will he yield the spot? And looks like Murphy will lead the lap, but it's still side by side down the front stretch. And meanwhile, behind them, Pinero has gone side by side with Huffman for third. Not quite enough to get by him there, but Franzoni still side by side with Murphy. Murphy holding it very strong on that low line.
Yeah, I just have to
get the momentum.
Franzoni's going to go. Oh, and Murphy, for the moment, takes the lead. Clears him. I was going to say, if this
to the race lead
goes on for much longer, Murphy's going to use up all of his tires, all that good tire he had. But now he kind of has that preferred position here, and now Franzoni has to deal with that dirty air that Murphy was just a moment ago dealing with.
Certainly not what Franzoni wanted to see, especially for his tire wear strategy. The best place to be on that front is, of course, out in front with nothing but clean air around you, so you can just run the tires as softly as you can without worrying about the cars around you. And Murphy seems to be of the opinion that the same one that Franzoni, I guess, had an idea, start from the pole and run away, but not anymore. He's now going to have to fight for it.
Yes, he does. So, hey, let's talk about our sponsor, one of our sponsors here, 4D RACEWEAR. We've got a coupon code, discount code, showing on the screen right now for this week's race. This will give you, I believe it is a 10% discount on all kinds of gear over at 4dracewear.com. Check them out. If you're looking for sim gloves, sim boots, or shoes, if you will, check them out, 4dracewear.com. But back to the race. Just wanted to get that in here just in case we, we'll mention them during caution, but just in case.
Everyone seems to be getting themselves into order here, and looking at even worse still for Franzoni, as Mark Murphy has zoomed away to a 1.2 second lead on lap 14. Franzoni now falling into the clutches of Elliott Huffman's number 5.
Just looking at the back of the field, I noticed Dakota's kind of dropped back. I imagine he's probably trying to fuel save, but there's no real way that you can... some of these 1 mile ovals, you can maybe no-stop it, but not here tonight, here at Gateway, I don't think.
I don't think so either. Yeah. That's going to be... It could well be that Dakota's main thought process there could be, well, wait till they take each other out. Wait till someone has an error and just preserve my car. Don't get involved in an incident. Because we know, of course we know that Dakota looked like he had a rough qualifying there. But of course, a very smart driver. He knows that there are opportunities down the road, and he's just giving him. And it seems like he's giving himself the idea that running in clean air, running himself just by himself, minding his own business, that'll help him in the long run here. He started at the back anyway, so picking up spots while he can.
And some battles in the back of the field here. Cesar Cabral, Mercer, also Maria, and Macquarie. It's probably the best battle on the track at the moment here.
Cabral and Matt Mercer. Mercer had a rough start there, fell 4 positions, and now he's got not only Cesar Cabral to worry about in front, but Alan Morea from behind, and Aaron Macquarie as well. Morea looks at the inside into turn 3. Let's see what they can do. Mercer way up high there. And I think that, yep, he will. He will have to yield that spot. And Macquarie looking everywhere he can. This is definitely not where we're used to seeing Matt Mercer. And it's definitely not where he wants to be either. It's been a bit of a rough night for him. And it's kind of one of the curses of the track here at Gateway. If you don't get a good qualifying run, it hurts you all that much more.
Yeah, going back to like fuel saving and what Dakota's probably doing back there, and maybe Mercer's deciding to opt for now too, is they want to have, if we do get a caution, they're going to have a slightly shorter pit stop, having saved that fuel. So maybe they can grab a couple spots that way.
Maybe so. Of course, how fast the tire change could be one of the biggest determining factors as well, but giving themselves all the tools that they would need to jump the positions they can. As Murphy stretching out the gap here, we're working lap 20. We're up to a 1.5 second lead over Franzoni. Murphy, a fantastic running so far tonight. He's been strong this season as he has in seasons past. And I'm not sure if he's won yet on the Monday Night Indy Fix Top Split broadcast, but I think he could be in for a good showing here tonight, maybe in with a chance of it.
I don't believe that he has, but he has become a regular otherwise here, so.
Indeed he has. We talk with him fairly regularly. He's gotten podiums, he's gotten seconds, he's gotten thirds. I'm certain he's gotten wins on races that are not our broadcast.
Correct, yes.
Yeah, but Murphy looking to make his voice heard on the show here tonight, looking very strong. 1.6 seconds now the lead over Franzoni.
He's now that he's, you know, on his own, he's going to be running that. He's running that low line, and it's working really well for him. He's built up a 1.5 gap over Franzoni back there. Huffman's still battling with Pinero, but even he's built up a gap of about a second out here. Andrew Wood and Ragone and Russell here, also a close battle out here on the track.
Wood trying to move himself back up to the spot where he started. Alexandre Ragone trying to hold him off here. Wood down to the very low line of the track there. Ooh, I always find that a little bit hairy.
Yeah.
But of course, what he's probably looking for is exactly where Ragone is not running. He does not want that arrow push in 1 and 2 more than anything else. That'll kill his momentum, maybe even wreck his car if it makes him understeer too much.
Yeah, where I was really watching it was at the very start of the race where, you know, you feel like you have a lot of grip, and suddenly you get to the exit of turn 2, and you get a bunch of understeer there. So I was watching at the start. I think everybody kept it off the wall there.
Yeah, they did keep it clean. Very well done by all of them.
I think the next tricky part on this track is if we get green flag pit stops, that access lane where they have to drive on the apron there in 3 and 4, that is really tricky. Some of these drivers might forget about, you know, practicing that until they actually have to do it live. You know, they've been practicing qualifying laps all night, and then they forget about, oh yeah, I have to drive down that pit access lane at about 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, speaking from personal experience, that pit entrance is always a tricky one. They cannot enter immediately off of turn 4. There's a wall blocking the way, and they'll also get a penalty for that. But also, there's also another part that they need to consider as well, and that's the pit exit here. The pit exit through the narrow 1 and 2, it can be incredibly slippery. I have seen many drivers, myself included, they lose it there fairly regularly if they get too tricky with the throttle. It's so easy to lose it there. That's one area that, like you said, if we do get green flag pit stops, as we're working lap 28, we're getting closer and closer to that window. It could well be that the race can be won or lost not just on pit road itself, but on the pit entry or exit.
Huffman and has caught Franzoni here, and he's looking like he's gonna get by here in just a matter of laps. Just he's got whatever his in-car adjustments settings are really good. He's caught Franzoni big time in the last few laps. Ooh, a little bit of a defensive move there.
Choppy move. Huffman is well and truly there, though. The gap now 1.8 seconds between Franzoni and Murphy, but this is the battle on the track for the second step on the podium so far. Huffman looking to get whatever momentum he can. He seems to have gotten that car working the way he wants it to as they head to turn 1 once more. Franzoni running up high. Huffman to the bottom there. He gets the run in the middle there, but it doesn't cost him momentum. He's got himself in the draft.
Get a big draft going down that back straightaway. Ooh, he chops him just a little bit.
That was a lunge there, but Franzoni cuts him off there. Down the front stretch we go. Franzoni still holding him off there, and all this is allowing Murphy to pull away. This is definitely what he wants to see before his pit stop.
Yeah, literally that last lap for Franzoni and Huffman compared to Murphy. Murphy was 0.3 faster, so...
This is definitely going to be a boon for Murphy at this point, but Huffman probably doesn't care. He just wants to get by that number 13 machine before his cycle of pit stops. And we're getting ourselves into the start of the pit window, as we said before. 55 laps is what we expect. So we're within that threshold now. So I can foresee a lot of guys, especially if they want to stay themselves on the freshest rubber possible throughout the early stages of this cycle. I can see a fair number of them coming in early.
Yeah, there's always that gamble, and we'll see who the gambler is to pit early. You know, there's two gamblers here. There's one that's going to save that fuel and try to go as long as possible, and the other one's going to try to undercut it.
Oh, friends, Adrian Verporti, they're in the wall hard! Verporti's in the wall! I believe there's another car as well. Was that, I'm trying to see who that was. That was Aaron McQuarrie. Caution is out. That is
our caution. I had the wrong Adriano on the camera, unfortunately.
That was a big crash there. So and looking at what happened,
let me
trying to see where that started. I see. So this is the caution that Dakota DeMay and company have been looking for.
That was it looked like he got turned on the straightaway.
He did. He got turned on the straightaway. That was the number 18 of Masato Shimizu getting into the back of Verporti off of turn 4. There was
another car that got air after that.
Yeah, and then another car goes airborne next to him. I believe that was Aaron McQuarrie. Goes airborne.
Ooh. Yeah, so
lands on all fours.
Masato Shimizu, as you mentioned, I have to imagine I'm going to err on the side of a net code on that, because we've got, Verporti, Club Brazil, and then we've got Shimizu, Club Japan. So a ping level between...
Probably struck again with that one, and it looked like Shimizu didn't quite judge that the way he wanted, but this was exactly what Mark Murphy did not want to see. But even still, down and away, he holds on to the race lead. Franzoni, P2, Huffman, P3 as they work their way off a pit road. So this will be fuel strategy done and dusted. They have one more set of tires they can use if they want to come in later on in the going. But from a fuel standpoint, this will be their only stop, most likely.
Yeah, I would say this is the stop right here.
Of course, later on, when the tires start to wear down, there's a possibility that some people would want to sacrifice track position, come in for fresh ones, but I'll say I'm skeptical as to their effectiveness.
Yeah, here today I'm not thinking. I see AJ Musselman is also on the pit lane. I didn't see him take damage, but
and that is a protracted stop for AJ Musselman. I'm not sure what happened to him.
And while we're under caution, I'll take that time to mention 40racewear.com discount code, 10% off here this week. This is the coupon code. We run these for a week and over on that website, and you get 10% off your sim racing gear. That is gloves, that is racing shoes, racing boots, that kind of thing. All various different sizes and colors. Check it out at 40racewear.com. Link is also in the description of the video.
Also, to answer the question about AJ Musselman, he actually slapped the wall coming off of turn 2 a couple of laps ago before the caution, so that's why he is on pit road for as long as he has. He had a meatball flag. He needs to effect repairs.
Well, we know, I don't know when that, I guess it was at the beginning of the season when they made that change to the to the damage model that gave us really long repair times, it's really just taking a little bit of damage. You can get that meatball, and then you get too much damage. We're done. Whereas, if you remember my race, I believe it was season opener. Maybe it was Charlotte last season. Where I was in 3 separate crashes. No way that was happening anymore. Which,
No
I mean,
way.
at the end of the day, I err on the side of realism. So, as much as it's going to harm me brushing the wall, I think you got away with too much back in the before this season. So
It is a simulation, after all.
is
It's
a
supposed to be
simulation.
authentic.
yeah, it was always funny when I went over and drove, like, say, the Indy Pro 2000 car, and I just bump it a little bit, and it's like, why are my repair times like way longer than the IR18? But now they're pretty similar. So
Indeed they are. As we're getting ourselves into order, getting ready for our restart. Murphy moving them up to the top side. Of course, using NASCAR rules in an IndyCar setting, you cannot pass to the inside before you get to the start-finish line. That's why you see these guys moving up high to block that high lane, because you can pass to the outside. And Murphy holding them, getting on the throttle now. Gets a bit of a jump now over Franzoni. Green flag
Huge.
flying once more.
gap in the back of the field, but here up at the front. So far, so clean. Huffman's going to want to get past Franzoni as quick as possible.
This is one of his best chances to do it. Huffman to the inside in turn 3. Not quite enough there. Has a peak down low. Not quite alongside. But Huffman gets the run now on the exit. He'll look to the inside into turn 1 this time. Still side by side. Franzoni up on the top. Huffman trying to make that bottom line work. And what can Pinero have to say in this instance? As they head down the back straightaway, Franzoni got the momentum up a corner exit. Ooh, as Huffman once again tries to squeeze it down low. This battle allowing Murphy to pull away. Huffman came very close to touching Franzoni there.
Well, he saw Murphy do it earlier in the race, get around Franzoni, kind of the same tactic that Huffman's doing right now.
And now Huffman still looking low. Again, not quite enough. That low line's not quite giving him momentum there.
Meanwhile, the gap back to Pinero, and actually cars behind Pinero, Trace Shadid, is narrowing as well as this battle continues. Murphy already 1.25 seconds ahead. He's just checking out. Huffman. Pinero
to the inside of Huffman for P3. Still wheel to wheel there. Huffman looked like Pinero getting a bit slippery there, but he will lead Huffman across the line there by about 100th of a second, no less. Still side by side now. Is Huffman going to get the launch off the high side now, and he clears Pinero there.
Matsuda getting past Shadid back there for the 5th position.
Hayato Matsuda started 7th, currently up to P5 right now. Very good run so far by the Japanese driver, running a Scott Dixon livery, if my trading paints is not failing me there.
That's what it is for me too. kind of surprised, but yeah, that's what he's got. Guess with Dixon winning yesterday, running it as maybe a little tribute livery.
Very fitting, no less. Congratulations to Scott Dixon's win there at the Nashville Street Circuit. Crazy race, no less.
Yes, indeed.
And Pinero already dropping back a little bit. Matsuda's looking to make something happen here. But this sort of ebb and flow I'm seeing with the momentum these guys are getting, this is probably going to be emblematic of what we're going to get for the majority of this race. Meanwhile, the guy who's not worrying about that too much, of course, is Mark Murphy. 1.4 seconds is the gap. Franzoni was a little bit quicker that last time. But still, Murphy's got himself a very good lead, and he's got the best seat in the house, especially for the end result.
Looking at a battle between Andrew Wood, Trace Shadid, and Alex Rigon. Looks like Wood's going to get by Shadid. And we've also got...
does indeed clear him there as now Shadid comes under pressure from Alexandre Rigon. Rigon's going to look to the inside now into turn one, sticks his nose in side by side. Shadid trying to get the launch off the corner. He does so. That high line working very good right now for the guys in 1 and 2.
Kevin Burrell also working his way into this battle. I saw a car on the pit lane. That was AJ Musselman, probably got some repairs and checking out how this car is going to drive. And probably not so great based on him driving on the apron. So
rough night already for AJ Musselman. Sad to see that. But looking at the gap now, Franzoni is indeed catching Mark Murphy right now. 0.2 of a second faster on that last lap as they come across the line this time. So they were pretty even on the this past lap here, but Franzoni's still within earshot of him. He can still make something happen and close up the distance before this race is out. Maybe Franzoni has something for the end.
Yeah, I'm just, I was a little bit surprised there that Franzoni putting in, let me see, fastest lap of the race. Does belong to Franzoni, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, with a 25.475. At least according to my data, that is the fastest lap of the race. So
that does look to be one of the faster ones so far tonight.
So Andrew Wood moving up into 6th position.
Andrew Wood now on a tear after that last pit stop. He found something that's working for him, no doubt about that. And that number 10 machine now starting to close up on Hayato Matsuda in front of him for P5.
Rigon working on Trace there. Also Burrell and Russell. Russell getting by Burrell.
And Shadid getting the launch off the top side in turn 4. He will lead over Rigon in P7. Rigon using that middle groove there, staying in the tire tracks. You can sort of make out there in 1 and 2. It's always very difficult to pass here. You have to make your momentum work for you and take advantage whenever you can.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm trying to think back to real life. I think they've repaved this track, so those grooves there, like the, I don't know, seams or whatever they are, aren't there anymore. It's just kind of a pretty smooth single color kind of surface of the track other than where the rubber is on the track. Ooh, Shadid really high.
Shadid way up high there. Rigon had to check up a little bit to avoid him, but he's still side by side down the front straightaway. What a save by Trace Shadid, but that is going to cost him the spot right now. Rigon does get by him. Can Shadid get by with the momentum off of 2?
I don't know how he didn't brush that wall. It looked really close.
Those are always hairy moments here. But Rigon does indeed get by him. Tyler Russell now lining himself up for a chance at getting by Shadid. This is the battle for 7th place between 4 drivers: Rigon, Shadid, Russell, and Burrell.
And we're looking about 30 laps to go from this lap. Everybody's good on fuel, but like you said, if we get a late caution, or maybe a caution anytime in the next 15-20 laps, we might have a driver duck in for fresh tires, particularly if they're back at the back of the field.
I would certainly see a lot of drivers in the back of the field taking that chance here, but the guys at the front, I'm going to be questioning if they're going to be wanting to do that, especially with how valuable track position can be at a track like this. So the likes of Murphy might well stay out and not risk throwing away a win here, especially Murphy, since he seems to have the best tire situation of a lot of them. He's been running in a situation where he's not going to be putting too much strain on the tires. He's not forcing them to do anything erratic. Murphy's just settling back and cruising here around St. Louis.
Yeah, and with that said, like we were talking about how that gap to Franzoni had come down, it's gone up now, so he's looking at about 1.2 seconds at the moment. It's not going to be easy to overcome that and try to catch that leader, especially with the kind of laps Murphy's. He's got this particular thing figured out, does Murphy up there.
Indeed, he has. Mark Murphy, the class of the field right now tonight. Franzoni running way up high there off of turn number 4, and Huffman staying in his wheel tracks. Huffman is closing in on him. He was about a 10th of a second faster that last time by. Franzoni not quite dropping back too much, but he is holding station right now, which of course is what he doesn't want. He wants to catch up to Murphy. He doesn't want to just sit there and maintain pace. Huffman, though, is kind of forcing him into an awkward situation, though, where he's going to have to defend his position, and that will help Murphy if he does manage to catch back up with him again.
Looking at a battle back here with Russell and Burrell, and we've also got one between kind of 4-car gaggle here between Lee, Irwin Jr., Price, and Shimizu.
Shimizu still going, of course, after the contact that set off that first caution. But Stephen Lee leading the pack there in that Samsung car, very close to the wall goes Frank Irwin Jr. and William Price behind him in the 17, the Red Bull livery. He's going to be looking everywhere to try and take advantage of that. Not quite enough right now. And this little gaggle is kind of keeping everybody in lockstep with each other. But of course, it's keeping them in close proximity. There's going to take advantage there. Price looks down low there. Tries to look to the inside in 3 and 4. Does he have the momentum on his side? Not quite, but he's still got his front wing alongside Frank Irwin Jr. Into turn 1. Irwin up on that high side there. He will clear him this time.
It's kind of a tough situation that Price finds himself in because Irwin Jr. is going to get on the front straightaway, is going to get the draft from Stephen Lee. So it just kind of, and then Price is probably going to get the dirty air from Lee in the corners. So it's kind of a tough situation he finds himself in.
It's always an awkward situation being the 3rd car in line in a place like this.
Yeah.
The 2 cars in front of you trying to find the clean air, whereas what's left for the 3rd driver to take? Scraps at that point.
And Huffman has caught back up to Franzoni, battle for 2nd place. It's down to 0.2 of a second once again here.
And Adriano Pinero is the interested spectator, it looks like, sitting in P4. But Huffman, once again, restarting his challenge as we're coming closer to 20 laps to go at Gateway. Franzoni playing a bit defensive there, so running in the middle of the front straightaway. Huffman looking to the low side. Tries to get the launch off the corner.
Huffman really running a low line in that 1 and 2, like right up against the curbing there.
And now running the high side in 3 and 4 there.
Whoa!
Pinero almost gets into the back of him.
That was, I mean, you know, they say something about don't move once you're in the corner, don't change lanes in the corner. There was a little bit of that there.
I think there was a little bit. Huffman probably didn't want to run up on that high line there, but Franzoni was playing defensive down the back straightaway, trying to throw him up on that high side. So Huffman didn't have too much of a choice there. He doesn't lose position and thankfully doesn't take himself and Adriano Pinero out of the race. But now he's got to do that work all over again. Yeah,
he's going to have to gain this 3/4 tenths again. You know, it'll probably take another 5 to 10 laps to do it, unless his tires have lost their shine, which you never know. Dakota back here battling with Alan Morera for the 15th, 16th position.
Side by side, Dakota DeMay and Alan Morera. And Dakota will clear him that time off of turn number 4. Morera will have a look to the inside this time. Let's see if they can, see if Dakota can defend that. He runs way up high there, almost into the marbles there, but that's going to give him a launch off the exit of the corner. Morera still within his wheel tracks. And Morera drifting up to the high side there, so Dakota seems to have held on to that position pretty firmly right now.
Also battle between Price and Irwin Jr., I think.
Oh, Andrew Wood slowing down.
Uh-oh.
Andrew Wood has got damage
Yes,
on the
he
right
does.
side of that number 10. I think he got the wall. Oh,
And he's going to spin.
Catches the grass.
That might
Oh,
not bring up.
That was overgone. There's contact there. Stephen Lee is
boy.
around. Chaos already. No caution yet.
No caution. What is happening?
What is happening right now? Alexandre Gone has got a broken front wing. The nose is gone on that number 6. Brings it down slowly there. I'm not sure.
I'm going to try to get a replay of this here if we can do this live.
I think he's going to try and avoid a caution here. He's going to try and pull off. Caution.
Oh, we do have
out.
a caution now. Okay.
Ragon did not pull off the track. He's brought out a yellow.
Well, I think that's maybe Mark Murphy's not happy with that, but I would think everybody else in the field might be happy with the second chance here. But the big beneficiary of all that is going to be Price. It's going to move to 9th. So who was that? That was Wood.
So Wood just runs way up into the wall on his own, battling with Ragon. Ragon just nowhere to go. So short a time for him to check up. And then what happens after this, Wood tries to get it down in the pits. Ragon misses the pit entry, drifts back up, almost hits William Price, sends Stephen Lee into the wall.
Ooh, yeah.
And sends him onto pit road as well. But looking at the live pictures, Murphy is staying out, and the same with Franzoni. Meanwhile, Huffman, Pinero, Matsuda, Shadid, Burrell, Russell, Price, they are all coming in.
Who got the really short stick on this whole thing was Stephen Lee, it looks like, though. Because he just had to deal with Ragon in front of him in the track and nowhere to go.
Stephen Lee was just a victim of circumstance in the worst possible way, it would seem. That number 8 running at the tail end of the lead lap right now.
So we're getting this set up exactly as we discussed it, though, where who's going to stop for fresh tires, and it seems to be a lot of the field.
A lot of them are doing it, including a lot of the guys towards the front, Huffman, Pinero, and Matsuda. But a few guys have stayed out. Murphy, Franzoni, of course. Frank Irwin Jr. has as well.
Yeah, so... I mean, he's got 12 laps. He was in 9th or 10th, I think. I think he was 9th after that incident. And, you might as well gamble.
Yeah, it's no time like the present for it. Frank Irwin started 12th, and now he's running P3 as things stand.
Yeah, so... And he's number 20 on the field, so, if he can just kind of get solidly in the, maybe a top 5, maybe, if he can hold on for a top 8, something like that, he's going to be coming away with a healthy I-rating gain here.
I would think so as well. Number 20 machine will gain a lot of I-rating if things stand the way they are. But looking at Huffman, Pinero, Matsuda, Shadid, they are going to be looking to take advantage of their fresh tires right from the get-go. And the lap cars in the way there, they will, with under 20 laps to go, the rules are they will be put to the back and they'll let the guys that are on the lead lap by.
Yeah, so another driver here. Dakota's moved up to 12 through this whole action here. Stephen Lee making another trip down pit lane, probably has a little bit of optional repair, something like that. Tough break for him.
That really was a rough circumstance there for Stephen Lee. No fault of his own either. That's always one of the more painful ways, when it's no fault of your own.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think that, what we're going to see here once we go green, Frank Irwin is going to have a bunch of angry bees behind him that are going to be wanting to pass him. And, this is where things can get tough for him.
He's going to have a big fight to hold on to whatever position he can. Huffman, Pinero, Matsuda, Shadid, Russell, Burrell, Price, they are going to be licking their chops for any potential, not just from the 3 guys who stayed out and running on old rubber, but also amongst themselves, because they don't really care who it is. If they're passing them for position, that's a spot game for them.
That's right. And yeah, if I was Irwin Jr., I'm just thinking, I hope somebody doesn't run into the back of me on the exit of 2. That's what I'm thinking.
I think we all don't want that to happen to any of us. But now we're going to have 10 laps to go at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Shaping up to be a really exciting finish as we're waiting on the pace car to peel off. Mark Murphy, who has been the dominant car all night long, he's got a few things to consider as he gets on the throttle early, jumps Franzoni pretty handily, green flag flying, and Franzoni also jumps Irwin, and Irwin firmly in the clutches of Elliott Huffman. Huffman looking everywhere to the inside now into turn 1. Not quite enough this time.
That we're going to be watching here. Pinero looking to take advantage.
Now. Here comes Pinero to the low side in the 3 and 4. Irwin moves in front of Pinero, chops the arrow off. Still side by side is the 5 and the 1. This is the sort of stuff Irwin needs to do. He needs to throw off their arrow wake and force them into lines that they don't want to run. But Huffman now has got to run. Those fresh tires working wonders right now. He's going to look to the inside into 3 and 4. Huffman down low. Irwin blinking a little bit from a connection issue, it seems. But
he clears him. Now, and Pinero.
Touch there for Adrian Pinero.
Oh!
Contact. Frank Irwin Jr. So close to the wall there. Frank Irwin gets shoved out of a bunch of spots there, but he saves it. But that has got to be gut-wrenching there for Frank Irwin Jr. And side by side now, Pinero and Hayato Matsuda. Matsuda to the low side.
Ooh, and Pinero is really high off of 4, but I'm looking at Huffman, and he's got his sights set on Franzoni. Franzoni and Murphy, of course, did not take fresh tires on that last...
Huffman's been wanting to get by Franzoni all race. This is his best chance to do it.
And he wants to make it really quick, because if he can get by Franzoni real quick, he might have just a chance for that lead jump.
Frank Irwin Jr. is bringing his car onto pit road, sadly. I think that might be night done for the number 20. Contact and damage there as Huffman now gets a run in the middle of the corner, side by side down the back straightaway. And Elliott Huffman on fresh tires. It looks like he's going to get the job done as we're coming to 5 laps to go. Can Franzoni do something about it on that high side? What's there? Franzoni pulls out of the spot. Here comes Pinero to take advantage. Pinero to the low side. And is he going to get both of them? 2 for 1. It is going to be a 2 for 1
by Pinero.
Pinero, 4th to 2nd. And here comes Huffman as well.
Heck of a move by Pinero.
Rodrigo Franzoni having a nightmarish situation right now. Not only is Pinero going to get by, but Huffman still wheel-to-wheel with him. And Matsuda's looking to take advantage of both of them.
Matsuda has an opportunity to take it 3 wide there. He's not taking it, though.
Not quite enough.
Franzoni's.
Clears Franzoni, and Matsuda gets a massive run down the back straightaway. He clears Franzoni as well.
I think Franzoni, he's got those old tires, plus now he's got aero wash, and it is not a good feeling for him right now.
Double whammy of stuff he doesn't want. Our pole sitter now in the clutches of Trace Shadid, and Shadid's now facing a threat from the outside. That's Kevin Burrell, goes around the outside in 1 and 2. And now he's going to be looking to the inside in the 3 and 4. Not quite enough as Mark Murphy, 1.7 seconds the gap on the last lap. 2 laps to go for Murphy. This has been a dream situation even on old tires.
Yeah, he's still putting up really competitive times at the front of the field.
Meanwhile, Burrell side by side with Shadid. This is for P6. And Franzoni also firmly in the mix as well. White flag in the air for Mark Murphy. 1 more to go for his first win on the broadcast. We've seen him on the podium many times. The battle is intense in the midfield. Starting to get a little bit even now. Shadid battling with Burrell for 6th. Almost 3 wide action there, but Mark Murphy, the class of the field tonight, and Mark Murphy wins at Gateway. Spectacular performance. Pinero second after a late race lunge, and Elliott Huffman holding on to P3.
So, Huffman started third. He passed a lot of cars for third for staying in the same position. But heck of a race by Mark Murphy. We're going to get a chat with him in a moment. We're going to let him have some time to burn down those tires, most likely here, though.
He brings the number 2 around. About to enjoy a great victory in East St. Louis. Mark Murphy started second, made the moves when it counted, and he was the class of the field from then on out. Taking a little victory lap.
Well, we'll see. I'll be, curious. What is his? Is just taking the victory lap? Is that his thing? We're gonna see here.
We'll
I know.
see.
I will say so. Like some people do the donuts. Of course. If Gary was here, Gary's not a big donut fan. So I mean, he likes to eat them, but he isn't. Because everybody does the donuts these days. So.
Pinero,
Pinero
I'm seeing
might
actually
be doing
some
donuts.
donuts down there. Or is that Trace Shadid?
It might have been
Trace
Shadid.
My bad. He's just sitting there after finishing P6. And Murphy turns it around. Maybe take a Polish victory lap. Yes, it looks like a Polish victory lap is in order for Mark Murphy. And
There
that,
we
of
go.
course, celebrating alongside his teammate, Trace Shadid. This is their victory tonight. And it is going to be a double
look at
Polish
that.
victory lap, it seems, for Murphy and Trace Shadid. Fantastic run for them tonight. It's the win they've worked for quite a while, and it's a win that was well-deserved.
Yeah, he had class of the field here tonight. Once he was able to take the lead, there was no looking back for him. He had no challengers pretty much after that.
It was his race to lose on both cautions, but he held the pressure in style.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw it was tough to pass on the low line, as we saw here. It wasn't a given thing, and he made it work.
Certainly not. As they come around off of turn number 1.
Hey, what are your thoughts on running reverse layout on some ovals? I'd like to have the option of doing such things.
It would be a cool idea. We do it on the Monza Oval already.
Yeah,
so
only place that has it,
why
I
not be
think.
both? Yeah, just need to completely swap the car around, orient it to right-hand corners.
That's right. Yep. We're gonna blow up some engines here. Not doing any burnouts, but maybe blowing up some engines here.
Yeah. I mean, they don't need the motors anymore anyway.
Certainly not. But we'll give Mark his time to get situated so we can get a talking with him. Luckily, nobody has to run for Speedway, Lionheart Speedway, I don't think, here tonight.
No,
So,
there may be a practice race for the IndyCar Series tonight, but
yep.
not much of a rush.
There it goes.
There
for
goes Shadid's motor.
Trace's
We're
engine.
waiting on Murphy's, and
There
there
it
it goes too.
Double kablamo.
Yep. We don't, yeah. It's not like we're subjecting them to tech inspection anyway.
I'll get us set up for our little slow-mo here.
So Mark Murphy wins the day, of course. Adriano Pinero P2 with a late race pass. Elliott Huffman third. Hayato Matsuda in P4. Rodrigo Franzoni, our pole sitter, ends up in 5th after all said and done. Trey Shadid in 6th. Alan Morea 7th. Kevin Burrell 8th. William Price in P9. And Dakota DeMade from the back of the field rounds out the top 10 at the end of the day.
All right, we've got Mark in the waiting for interview, so we're going to pull him up. Hey, Mark, this is Matt and Steven up in the booth. Got a copy?
Oh my God! Did that just happen?
It happened.
It just happened.
We were saying somewhere in that race, we're like, has Mark won one of our broadcasted races yet? And we were like, we don't think so. I'm sure you've won during the week, of course. But how does it feel out here tonight? Get to the strength of the field victory here in a dominating fashion here at some people call it Worldwide Technology Raceway. We call it Gateway, right?
Gateway is by far my favorite track in the service. I don't know. I knew we had, and I were talking before the race, and we had qualifying speed, and like the setup had slowed down. And the first time I went out on my old race setup, I wound up backwards in a turn 3 fence. So it was Trace Shadid, my teammate and good friend, and that guy came up with a bar and weight jacker bit that just I could roll real easy up to the middle of the corner, and it was just a rocket ship off. And I can't believe that just happened. That was unbelievable.
Yeah, you made that pass on Franzoni, and I don't know what it was, like first 10 laps, maybe first 15, something like that. But it's not easy to make that pass work. He had the high line, he could get the run off the corners, but you made it work with whatever tools you had there. Great run here. Great. We got to watch your whole victory laps as well with Trace too. Any questions for Mark here, Steven?
Overall, just a dominant performance tonight. And of course, you mentioned before that you and your teammate worked to find the settings that worked the best for you. And when you got out to the front there, it seemed fairly easy to defend your position against all comers. Franzoni had a devil of a time trying to get back by you, and not least because he had to deal with Huffman for a lot of the race. But would you say that? But what would you say about how the racing was going down here tonight? What was your thoughts about the sort of ebb and flow of everything?
Yeah, so I wasn't mad about the first caution. I was pounding the steering wheel on the second one. In terms of the racing, believe it or not, that second run, I was doing it entirely in fuel save. It was just all about getting a launch off of turn 2. A lot of those guys, almost everybody else, was overdriving into turn 1, and Franzoni was doing that too. He'd overdrive it into turn 1. He could get to me, but then he'd wash up the track and lose time, and I'd be gone down the back straight. And then we were able to work it so that if we were out front, it was just barely a lift going into 3, and then just flat off. Matter of fact, in the last 10 laps, I wasn't even using the brakes. It was just all lift into turn 1. It was that good. And then, as you guys know, dirty air, especially at a place like Gateway, you lose the nose going into 1. So I still can't believe that happened. I can't believe it.
Well, awesome victory here tonight. Hey, do you have anybody else to thank out there? Sponsors, teammates? I know you mentioned Trace already, of course, but anybody else out there?
Yeah, that I have to thank Trace again. Without him figuring out the setup, and without him figuring out the race stuff, that wouldn't have happened. I got to thank Mom and Dad. My dad encouraged me to start doing this a couple of years ago, and I can't believe it's come to this point. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank Black Magic Designs. Those guys are unbelievably good, and they did a truck for me on short notice, which I wrecked last night. But I hope I hope it showed up on the broadcast. My trading paints wouldn't work, so I hope it showed
Not
up.
100% sure if we've got what it is. But hey, we'll have you up here again sometime. And this is the other question I've got to ask: are you going to race any more this week, or are you just going to be got the top strength of field? I'm just going to take a week off.
I'm gonna go spot for Trace in
Okay.
35 minutes.
There you go.
Um,
Yeah, good
beyond
luck to
that,
him.
probably not here. I'll probably run a lot of F3. I'm doing a truck league on Sunday night, so I gotta prepare for that. I haven't driven a truck on anything other than a super speedway in almost a year, so I got to get ready for that. And then Friday night I'm running in my league's US 500, so got to get ready for Michigan too.
Well, that's kind of the story of all of our lives. How many leagues do we have? And but this makes it easy for you because you can park Indy fixed for a few days. So, all right, great victory, Mark. Good talking to you, and we'll see you back on the broadcast here next week, probably.
Yeah, Matt, Steven, thank you so much for what you guys do. Matt, I know you're the one that makes this possible, and I thank you for that. It's a real pleasure and a privilege to race for you guys, and I hope I didn't stink up the show too bad. Y'all have a good night.
Nah, we were happy for you, dude.
Yep. All right, you take care.
Yes, sir. Later, guys.
Later, man.
All right. Well, you ran through the grid. I think we're about done here tonight. We've probably got a practice race to do.
Seems to be the case.
Yeah, so I'll see you there, and always good broadcasting with you. I think you and Gary always the top top crew here at Race First, but I get to cover for him time to time nowadays. He's basically the primary here, and I just get to sit and watch most of the time.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we'll likely have Gary back tomorrow night for the Formula Indy Series as things seem to be looking. But tonight it's us two, and we had a great show tonight. A great victory for Mark Murphy, and shows that Gateway can be a really good track for really intense action.
All right. Well, that's it for
next
us.
Week.
Yep.
And of course, next week, off to Pocono, the best oval track in the entire world. No, I'm not biased at all.
I was going to say that. I think that's your biased opinion right there. It's a pretty good one. I just happen to be really bad at it. So, yeah, I don't know what it is, but yeah, Pocono, not the greatest, but maybe I'll end up driving it.
My bias may be doubly so, not just because I love driving it, but it's also my home track.
Yeah, so I'm aware of that. Yeah, so I mean, it is a great IndyCar should be there, but
I agree completely.
Yeah, so I think we've had this discussion before.
Yes, I'm sure.
All right,
we have.
Everybody enjoy your week. We'll see you back here. We've got a bunch of broadcasts this week. We got Formula Indy. We've got RAL at Road Atlanta. Brazilian stock cars, Phoenix Road is where they're at, and then we'll be back here next week with Monday Night Indy Fixed at Pocono. Take care, everybody, and we'll see you then.